From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with OSU beat writer Scott Wright. Scott, huge story of Saturday's big win against Boise State with special teams, in particular those two blocked punts. OSU all over the Boise State punter on a couple occasions. It almost got to the point where you felt a little sheepish for the guy because he was just run over when they blocked both of those punts. Let's talk first of all about what happened there, and then we'll get a little deeper into what Oklahoma State's doing to continue to build on that special team success. But what did they see? I mean, what were they getting that maybe other teams were showing differently? Did you get any sense of that?
They didn't really go into a lot of detail about what exactly it was that they saw, but their special teams coaches had identified some lanes where they could run free and get to the ball easily and get to the punter and block punts with ease, and they did it. They executed it perfectly twice, and they admitted they were a little bit surprised on the second one that Boise State hadn't adjusted. So they felt really good about the plan they had in. They executed it well. Mike Gundy said that when they practiced it first on Tuesday of last week that it wasn't quite clicking, but they came back later in the week and worked on it some more, and you could tell that they had made the adjustments they needed to, and were really prepared for that situation, and came up with two clutch punt blocks deep in Boise State territory where they were able to, one, set up a short Oklahoma State touchdown. The other, Zacharias Green picks up the ball and runs it in for an easy touchdown. Well,
as you could see by that still photo of one of those punt blocks, there were multiple guys. If it's not blocked by the guys that ultimately get the stats, it looks like three other guys might be able to get in there. So some serious props to the special teams coordinator, and that being MK Taylor, a guy that people may not even big Cowboy fans may not know. He works alongside a grad assistant, Patrick Cashmore. These guys, tell us a little bit about them, Scott. I mean, and the way that Oklahoma State has structured its coaching staff to have two guys that aren't maybe as well known doing the special teams.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation because MK Taylor was the guy that they had identified that they thought could be a good guy to lead this group. They didn't have a coaching staff position open for him. He was in a life situation with a young baby that he couldn't come in and be a grad assistant and as Mike Gundy put it yesterday, basically live on food stamps. So he needed to be on salary in some way. So they actually hired him as an analyst, which is an interesting situation for a coach of his caliber because he can't interact with the players directly. So he's formulating these plans and doing these things. A former Alabama deep snapper was at Alabama through 2014, then went to Jacksonville State and started working his way up the ranks there. Spent 2 years as their special teams coordinator, and that's where he had really made a name for himself among coaches. So they brought him in as an analyst, and Mike Gundy basically said, okay, you're going to need somebody that's going to be your voice on the sidelines and interacting with the players. We've got one spot in a grad assistant role that's open. He's like, I want you to be sort of lead the way in finding this guy. And Gundy said they brought in 3 or 4 guys. Said as long as it met certain criteria for Gundy and the type of coach that he was, that he would be fine with whoever MK Taylor was comfortable working with. Patrick Cashmore was that guy. It just so happened that Patrick Cashmore was coming from Toledo, where a former Oklahoma State special teams coordinator, Robbie Disher, was working as the special teams coordinator. So he came with a good recommendation as well from some people that Oklahoma State folks are familiar with. So Cashmore comes in as an offensive graduate assistant and special teams coordinator on the field and in the meeting room with the players. He and MK Taylor are the guys now that are collaborating and coming up with these schemes and breaking down film, and they're the ones that organized this punt block scheme that works so well against Boise. They've done some other things that are new. If you watch Oklahoma State on kickoffs, there's a third of the field that's completely open, and no players past the far hash mark on the field when they run their kickoffs. It's all designed to get everything to one side of the field and trap people in over there. So some interesting things that they're doing on special teams, and it all comes from these 2 new guys who have come in, and Mike Gundy has sort of just unleashed them to do what they are comfortable with. Their minds work alike, and so it's been a comfortable situation for those 2 guys to come up with these schemes.
Those 2 blocked kicks on Saturday added to what's been a really strong kick block. I mean, they've gotten blocked field goals, blocked extra points, blocked punts at a rate that is as high as any program in the country, Scott. So clearly that's continuing. I think Mike Gundy might even ask after the week before him saying, we were just okay in special teams. Are we starting to see some improvement in return game and those sorts of things? Do you sense that we're going to start to see maybe the improvement on those other units as well on special teams?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that Jake McClure, redshirt freshman, stepping into the kickoff role, he had really improved since last year. You look, they've got a lot more touchbacks this year, a lot less on return, so that's already improved. Punt return is still a little bit shaky. They were more pleased with what they saw from Dylan Stoner against Boise State, not letting so many kicks hit the ground and roll deep into their own territory. So if you go back and look at Boise State's field goal attempts, AJ Green was really close to blocking the one field goal that actually ended up hitting off the post and was missed anyway. But you can see an attacking scheme that you think is going to work pretty well there. So a lot of things that are working really well. Zach Seiner still hasn't punted the ball yet. We'll see if that happens this week. Mike Gundy said yesterday that he thought Seiner was going to play over the weekend. He asked him on Sunday, "Are you still a football player?" And Seiner says he is. So maybe we'll see him this week.
All right, and that would be against Texas Tech on Saturday. That's a 6 o'clock kick in Stillwater. That game is on FS1 if you're not headed up there to see it in person. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.